This is the Anchorage Advisory Committee meeting, and we have present today Jason Freeman, Austin Gilchrist, and committee members John, Sam, Doug, Ted, and Vice Mayor Jim Alterholt. And we'll bring this meeting to order. We'll say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation, God, indivisible, and Sam Lurie, temporary chairman, also present. Chairman of the committee.
I would nominate Sam to be chairman.
Okay, I'm going to decline at this time. I've been serving as the vice chairman, and I probably have the capacity to do that. I've got too much going on with the storm right now to take on the chairman duties. Are there any other nominations? I'd like to nominate Doug.
Second.
Okay, second. Are there any more nominations for the chairman? Seeing none, I'd like to take a vote. All those in favor of Doug being the chairman, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Congratulations, you're the new chairman.
Great. That didn't work.
At this time, we'll take nominations for a vice chair of the committee. Any nominations?
Yeah.
I would accept that nomination. Any other nominations for vice chairman of the Anchorage Advisory Committee? Seeing none, let's take a vote for Sam Lurie to be the vice chairman. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Congratulations. Let's switch chairs. There we go. That was pretty easy. Okay,
Well, I may stumble a little bit because I'm not aware of all the protocol. So I think the next item on the agenda is public comment. Is there any public comment? Hearing none. Approval of the minutes from our last meeting just before the hurricane, September 21st, 2022.
Sam Lurie, I move that we approve of the minutes.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Staff report and updates. Austin, you got a report?
Yeah, Austin Gilchrist, Town of Fort Myers Beach Harbor Master for the record. First meeting back since storm, as you all know. We've closed down the existing 70 systems in the mooring field that was established previously due to compromise of the systems and the severity of the storm. Those systems were deemed pushed beyond their capabilities and will need to be rebuilt. We have begun that process of pulling those systems and rebuilding them. We have since, in fact, put in 19 more mooring systems that was being executed before the storm has been installed. We are utilizing those for wet storage purposes only and limited daily stays for people just passing through. 6 of those we've had to close down. We're working with Coast Guard and the Army Corps to get those reopened. We're still clearing vessels from the mooring field as of today. We have dive boats. You can see them working out there through the week with divers going down, identifying vessels and having them removed through contractors through the state. Engineers, like I said, have deemed the field non-usable, so we're trying to keep everybody out of it, and anybody coming in to tie up, we're trying to get them out and keep them out. As of right now, we have 2 derelict vessels in the field that we're working with insurance companies to remove. We did not lose any vessels. We did have damage to one of our pontoon vessel that has been repaired. That's the vessel that we have been using in the field to do our divings and all of our underwater operations with. The pump out boat is under services right now. The only issues that we're having is getting it pumped out itself, so we're working out with the CVA grant to have that taken care of. We're pumping out within 1,000 feet of the island. I don't know if you guys are prevalent on the parameter of our pump outs, but we do the mandatory pump outs in the mooring field, and then any request within 1,000 feet of landward of the island, we will pump out those vessels as well with a grant supplemented $5 pump out fee. All of our equipment is under replacement or has been replaced, whether it be hand tools, dive gear, boats, and that such thing. We are still going through and assessing losses and replacing what has been lost with that. Mooring equipment is now being priced out, and we are working with Tidal Basin to have all reimbursements and seeing, basically exploring the finance aspects of how we can pay for getting the mooring field rebuilt. We are in talks with Matanzas, since they are rebuilding, we're talking with them. Not only them, but we are in negotiations and talks with other upland providers to see if we can provide some kind of services when we do start getting services back up and running for people staying in the field, whether it be laundry, bath, showers, and facilities of that nature. We are required to have those. As of right now, we're utilizing the community centers located at the Connecticut and Estero location. For anybody needing those facilities, we reference them to that area. We also have lost our dinghy dock, our main dinghy dock under the bridge, Matanzas Bridge, which was a public dock. It's up in the, part of it is up in the parking lot at this time, and we're working with contractors to have that removed. We're working on having that built. We have had the permit go through, so now we're in negotiations with, or engineers, I'm sorry, to go through and have that re-blueprinted out. It was rebuilt, I think about 2 years ago. We had it rebuilt, yeah, so we still have the blueprints and as was, or as is, of that build. So we're just getting that process going so we can get that rebuilt. We are going to add in the removal of the previous dock in with it so we can have that removed by the contractors as well. We're doing pump research right now. This incident has really opened up a vulnerability of our pump out capabilities and how we can self-sustain the intake that we have. Previously, we were relying on marinas and utilizing public facilities to discharge our boat. We're now exploring through the CVA grant to have it reimbursed a pump out station that we manage and that we maintain. And basically, it's just a peristaltic pump pumped into the main sewage line of the island here, which we are in works with Lee County to have that process taken care of. We're still working with DACWA, who is our upland provider. I know some of you aren't familiar with DACWA, but that's who we are using to manage the mooring field. It's basically a marina management app that covers all of the United States, and I believe out of the United States as well. But there are multiple companies that do this, so we are in explorations of finding other providers, better services of that. We're always in the look of something and improving the mooring field, so we will always be looking for providers and better services to better service the patrons of the field. We are trying to get our water connection back installed under the bridge as well. We provide water for the boaters, not so much towards their main mother vessel, but their dinghy or their tenders can come to the seawall previously and fill up bladders or water containers and transport that out to their vessels. We are in the process of having that reattached. We previously went through Matanzas Inn and their water supply. Our utilities department, who's been working nonstop on providing everything for the island, has generously helped us out in getting a meter hooked up on our property so we can run a line and do it on our own accord, so we don't have to rely on any outside services for fresh water and that nut. We do have one employee, Patrick Zamorano, who's been helping us. This is pretty much our whole maritime division right now. We are putting out advertisements and requests for positions to be filled for maritime, since now we are starting to grow and starting to take in services. But there's a copy of monthly reports that we do send out. If you would like a copy, please let me know. We'll get you on the email list and get you monthly reports of the maritime operations. Okay?
Okay, thank you, Austin. That's pretty good. That's a very complete report. Member items and
I've
reports.
got a couple questions for staff report, please.
Yeah.
Sam, for the record, what's the status of our old lease and the situation with that building? Are we still paying on it, or is it
That-
trashed?
That lease has since expired. We are in negotiations with them since they are rebuilding. Things are being modified, so the prices and things like that are being adjusted as well. So we have been in talks with Doug Spear and Smith on getting an agreement drawn up so that we can be satisfied with what is being turned out of that area. They have informed us that things will not be the same as they were as far as laundry facilities and bathrooms. They have lost a lot of their amenities as well, so they'll have to utilize some of the areas that we were utilizing. But it's just the configuration of the property, not so much the functionality of the property.
Okay, and that's Matanzas, or that's the new building also?
That's going to be Matanzas Inn over there.
Okay. So how about the new building? Are we still paying on that?
No, we are not paying anything on any contracts right now. We were under HOA with the lease with them, so we're working that out with them as well.
And that if we do set up a land-based pump-out location exclusive to the pump-out boat, is there a location picked out for that yet, where they would install that?
Yeah, right now, we went down and designated an area where there's already a concrete slab on our property. We just have to have electricians come out and give us the best synopsis of getting a 220-volt ran to that area. And basically, we've located an area closest to the seawall where we can run plumbing and closest to electrical where we can power the pump that needs it.
Under the bridge?
Under the bridge there, yes.
Thank you.
And then the pickup would probably be at the fixed bridge that's still there. It would just be a connect that we run our pump out hose to, and then it would pump itself.
Thank you.
And it would pump directly into Lee County's collection system.
Yeah, and we're working with Lee County to how that would be metered and paid for to take care of that.
Correct. Any other questions for Austin? The next item on the agenda is member items and reports. Anything?
Yeah, do you want to
Sam?
I just wanted to mention that Austin and Jim Alderhold have a YouTube video. If you go to YouTube and just search out Fort Myers Beach or Anchorage Committee, it's about a 40-minute video, something like that. It's very informative, and even though it was done a couple months ago, I think it's still pretty much up to date, that we should all watch it, and anybody from the public that wants to see what's going on should maybe watch that.
I'd like to comment that is an excellent video. It's done very, very well, and it's very informative. I would encourage anyone that hasn't seen it to please see it, and encourage anyone in the public to see it. Maybe there can be some way we can promote that further, but it's a wonderful, informative tool.
Great. I have something. I'm on the LPA, and at our last meeting, there was a discussion of docks. Docks for residential properties and docks for multifamily or multi-unit properties, and docks and canals and docks that front natural water. And we sort of tabled the discussion, and they are planning to refer to the Anchorage Advisory Committee for some guidance on ordinances related to dock rebuilding. So that's kind of a heads up. I don't have any specifics yet, but
Mr. Chairman, if I could, a couple things on that. It's not just the dock piece; it's the canal itself. I think the council is going to be looking for guidance from this advisory committee. As you all know better than I do, many of the canals have even more sand than they already had in the bottoms, and it's difficult to navigate these canals. We have a channel, of course, in Laguna Shores that we've talked about extensively that has challenges, but the canals also have challenges. So there's discussion of having the town hire a firm to do a survey to get a sense of what the damage is, because I understand it from Austin that it varies greatly per canal, and so we need to have a sense of what that challenge is, and then figure out a way. The town has an entity, Tidal Basin, that we're contracted with to help with a lot of the FEMA work, and they're also doing a lot of research for grants and financial assistance, and so we're hopeful they can help try to find at least some help for that. The finances of actually dredging those canals is daunting, And so maybe it's a situation where the town finds a contractor and then we use the economies of scale, and then maybe those canals could opt in if they choose to utilize that contractor, get a better price. There's a lot of variables, but it's something that this entity would be well suited to help us get some guidance on. So just food for thought, and that's all coming down the pike.
Okay, thank you, Jim. It's a good thought. Now I can imagine, too, there's probably still debris and not only sand, but probably
Austin's been down every
Debris.
canal. He could tell us better than anybody.
Yeah, we did do a canal inspection of every canal in the area, and each one does vary based on the characteristics of where its location is. So with the debris aspect, there are still debris calls coming in, especially with the tidal change is going on right now. It's starting to expose a lot of things that are being broken loose and coming free that were pinned up under docks or were not kind of secure previously. We still are having issues with docks that have damage that is not being secure, that is being broke free with tidal change, and then most of it's wood, so it's setting afloat into the navigable waters. Staff has been out whenever we are out collecting large pieces of debris daily.
And if I remember correctly, Mr. Chairman, Austin, you're always so modest, but in this tour we took, you said two things that were particularly of interest. Number one, that the wider the island, it generally correlated to less damage to the canal. The narrower the island, the canals took a greater impact from the storm. A, and B, you also talked about the speed of the boats going up and down these canals and along the bay exacerbates the debris issue greatly because it sort of jars this debris items loose. You might just talk a little bit about that because I think a lot of people are concerned about boaters who are not respecting the speed limits in those areas.
So with this area being a frequent area of interest to recreational boaters, we do have a high output of rental boaters as well, and I'm pretty sure you guys are pretty prevalent on how that business is. So a lot of these people do not know the area, and with signs being down and damage to the navigable ways, a lot of people aren't prevalent to the slow zones or no wake zones. So a lot of them are pushing up wake into the areas with high damage, especially at higher tides when the tides are up on the islands or debris areas. Those wakes will wash up and then grab things and pull them back into the water. And then the constant hit of them will start jarring anything that isn't secured down, whether it be hanging on by a bolt, a cable, or anything like that. It's just the constant impact of wakes going through there that is jarring things loose, causing more debris to be put into the water. And not only that, we're starting to see with marine construction going on, everybody rebuilding their docks, a lot of the pilings and end caps, things that are being cut loose, are ending up in the canals as well now. So that's kind of something I'd like to put out there for contractors to kind of secure their caps and things when they are cutting or making even cuts and things like that, to please collect their debris, because we are starting to see large pilings floating down the canals, and it's new pilings. It's not anything with growth. So.
Okay. Good point. Yeah, sure, Sam.
A couple more questions for Austin real quick. How's the signage report?
So we share waterways federally, locally, and then within the town as well. Lee County will manage some of the navigable waterways. The federal government manages some of the waterways, and then we have our waterways that we manage as well. We are only confined to what we can do and how quickly we can do it. We share a contract with contractors that are on a list that we utilize with the county. So with that, the time frame in which we are getting things done aren't exactly what they used to be, which would probably, you can say that across the board right now, but they're giving us 6 weeks to 8-week time frames for putting in any signage now. The provider that we are using is installing all the signage for Lee County. So we are expected to have our signage up later on this week, if not next week, for informational signage going into the mooring field. As far as channel markers and federal channel waterway markers, Those are going to be managed through Lee County and the West Coast Inland Navigation District, WESN for short. So we can reach out to them and get an update from them. But last spoke to them 2 weeks ago, and they were in the process of installing, I believe it was 168 signs post around Sanibel, and then they're working their way back around here.
Are we still using DeHaze as
Yes.
most of that?
Yes.
And one more question for Jason.
Sure.
Our committee members, are Bob Beasley and Kathy Light, did they resign from the committee members, or are they still members of the committee?
Yeah, so but both of those have resigned. Want to thank them for their service. Kathy, I know, was on here for quite a while, and Ms. Beasley as well. I did
Kathy actually moved out of the state. Yeah, she didn't resign out of any, there was no drama. She just literally moved
right.
away. Yeah.
They're
Right.
no longer on it.
And then I did, from Greg Holmes, I did get that he was out of town, so he was not able to make this meeting, but he is still on there, or on the committee. And then you do have 2 vacancies, so want to put that out there as well. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to the clerk's office or myself. We can get you through that application process, and please fill that out, and we're welcome to have you. It's great to see everybody, too.
Yes, sir.
Just if this is the appropriate time, Mr. Chair, just a couple comments. First of all, I wanted to welcome our new member, John Wesley Nash. Mr. Nash has an extensive background in nautical issues, for lack of a better term, and we're thankful for his service. I did want to mention a couple things. You were kind to reference this Key Questions with Key Staffers show that we've been doing, and it is on the town's website. It's Town of Fort Myers Beach YouTube channel is the best way to find it. And it's called Key Questions with Key Staffers. And I would say, I don't want to get Austin's ego too big here, but it was our #1 rated show. People listened. That was the longest show we did. It was 1 hour and 12 minutes. And in conjunction with not only the town's social media platforms, but with Beach Talk Radio also playing that show, I think we had over 10,000 viewers, which is pretty amazing for a show that's over 1 hour and 15 minutes. And of course, our cameraman back there is excellent, Jacob, who does our IT work for the town. So I would encourage people to check that out if they can. And I would also encourage members of the committee, if you haven't already done so, to take that tour with Austin. He'll take you out anytime. He loves to tell the story. And I had a chance to tour the upland facilities before the storm, and then to see everything afterwards, particularly with Austin's insights, was fascinating. And I encourage you as advisory board members, if you get a chance, to go out and take that tour as well. So I don't claim to be an expert on boating issues, but I must tell you I'm extremely interested, and I look forward to serving on this committee as your liaison. These advisory committees, at least from my perspective, have been extremely helpful to the town council, particularly post-Ian, as we try to manage some pretty serious and pretty major issues that will really help determine the future of this town. So I thank you all for your service, and I look forward to working with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Let's see. I guess we're back to public comment. There's no, I don't think there's any public comment. Next meeting agenda.
June 21st, 9 a.m. Oh, I'm sorry. I was doing the date.
Well, that's good. I wrote it down. I guess at some point we have to get back to the harbor management plan, but I think it's premature with all the other issues that Austin has to deal with. So I would suggest we basically have the same agenda we have here, unless somebody has something to add to it. And do I have a motion to adjourn?
Sam Lurie, I motion to adjourn.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion adjourned. Meeting adjourned.
Good to see everybody again.
Yeah.